When I reviewed Space Invaders Forever earlier this year, I came away disappointed that it didn't contain any new content. Just like pretty much everybody else who played it, I loved Space Invaders Extreme when it was released back in 2008, and all I really want is a shoot 'em up that gives me more of that. Well, good news everybody, because that's exactly what we get from the new game Super Destronaut DX-2. While this throwback shooter may be part of a 6-year-old franchise that started on the Wii U, what it really feels like is an extension of the Space Invaders Extreme series. From the look, to the gameplay, to the pixel enemies, this shooter picks up right where that other franchise left off. But does it lose a bit of its identity in the process? Yeah, that's what I wanted to find out. Much like the classic shoot-em-ups that inspired it, Super Destronaut DX-2 is all about alien killing action. There's no story, no setup, no characters, and certainly no emotional ending. This is a game where you move a spaceship left and right, all while shooting at the aliens and UFOs that are slowly descending from the sky. You'll dodge bullets, snag power-ups, and if you can stay alive long enough, rack up big points by exploiting the score multiplier. In other words, it's a stylish throwback shooter with more than a passing resemblance to Space Invaders Extreme. Now, while the concept isn't especially original, that doesn't mean that this is just a carbon copy of that other game. This is something that you'll discover the moment you jump into the game's main mode, which sends the player on a 30-stage adventure through a nice variety of objectives. It's a grab bag of cool challenges, most of which can be completed in like a minute or maybe a minute and a half. In fact, a number of them revolve around a timer counting down, something that only adds to the urgency of the explosive action. A good example of one of these challenges is when the game tosses the player into a firefight with only a handful of bullets. The good news is that the enemies have been made weaker and you don't have to worry about the timer. But once you've run out of those bullets, it's game over. Another level may flip that by giving us unlimited lives and bullets, but only a few seconds to kill the different waves of bad guys. These, along with all the other challenges, start off easy enough, but they all quickly become punishing as we get closer to clearing all 30 stages. When you're not going through that mode, the only thing left to do is play the longer versions of the challenges. Remember that mission that I told you about where you only had a handful of bullets to play with? Well, you can play that as a full mode, complete with its own leaderboard. And best of all, now you can shoot down UFOs and collect more bullets, prolonging the game well past a minute or two. Look, don't get me wrong, these modes are great and the main campaign is a lot of fun to play through. But they don't really shake up the formula all that much. You're not going to come away from this game raving about its originality. That's the kind of game that could have been mistaken as DLC for Space Invaders Extreme. It's even priced like DLC, retailing at just $5. I don't bring this up because I disliked the game, quite the contrary. I'm going to have no problem recommending Super Destronaut DX-2, especially at that budget price. But as I continued my hunt for high scores, I couldn't help but feel like the game's personality was getting lost amongst the explosions. From the all-too-familiar weapons, to the predictable power-ups, to the enemy formations that are eerily similar to that other franchise. There isn't a whole lot about this game that I would classify as being unique. I mean, I'm not looking for a shoot-'em-up to reinvent the genre, but there isn't much here that stands out as being exclusive to the Super Destronaut brand. Probably the closest this game gets to having a unique identity is when it lets you slow down time to dodge bullets, or how the corpses of the killed aliens will sometimes prevent you from killing more aliens, or how you're not locked to the bottom of the screen and can fly around wherever you want. These are interesting enough wrinkles that make it play differently from Space Invaders Extreme, but we've seen all this and more in other shooters. Now, what we get may not be very original, but it still gets the shoot-'em-up action right. I like the variety of challenges, the different modes, the cool retro backgrounds, and all the different types of colorful space invaders. And while it's not very long, and there are definitely one or two arcade modes that you'll most likely want to skip, Super Destronaut DX-2 is still a well-made shooter that is an absolute steal at $5. Super Destronaut DX-2 is the Space Invaders sequel that we've all been waiting for. While it may come with a different name and the aliens look a little odd, this is the closest we've come to getting a sequel to one of Taito's best shooters in more than a decade. Sure, it's derivative and lacks its own personality, but Petite Games' newest release gets the shoot-'em-up fundamentals right and is, most importantly, fun to play. What's more, it's cheap! With a $5 asking price and a nice variety of challenges to complete, Super Destronaut DX-2 is easy to recommend, even if it's just the cover band version of Space Invaders Extreme. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite video game clone? I don't mean like a cloned person, but rather a game that's obviously trying to be another game. You know, some might call it a ripoff, but I think that's maybe a little bit too judgy for what I want to know today. Let me see your favorite clones in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back shortly with a new Game Over episode looking at the original 1991 version of Cotton. We'll follow that up with a look at Electronic Gaming Monthly's best reviewed shoot-'em-ups. Oh boy, it's a crazy list, so you'll definitely want to tune in for that. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,